بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. I am very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this blessing of having Hawzah here and making us part of this sacred institution. And alhamdulillah, now we are in the last week of our 9th semester. This is our 5th year and we are middle of the year, so we have had 9th semester. And this is 100th session of Akhlaq. It's a great blessing and I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it shows also that if you are using opportunities and try to be consistent, little by little you can build something that inshallah later you can be feeling that you have been useful. I hope the time we are departing from this world and when our whole life in few moments would go before our eyes, we feel that we have not totally wasted our life. We feel, inshallah, strong moments of remembrance of Allah. And inshallah, see around us al-Baydaa alayhim salam. So I am very grateful to Allah that has given us this blessing and have given me brothers and sisters like you. And we pray, inshallah, Allah would save us and would save the work we have done from attacks of shaitan, whether it be through our nafs ammara or through outside. In my life, I have always tried to study Akhlaq and falsafiyya Akhlaq, but I never dared teaching Akhlaq. So I always said ilmul Akhlaq, philosophy of Akhlaq. And this time in Hawzah I was somehow forced, but still I called it ilmul Akhlaq because I am not in a position to teach Akhlaq. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how unhappy I am with myself. So inshallah we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us proper teachers of Akhlaq so that we both go and inshallah learn from them. Alhamdulillah, we had blessing of connection to the Shrine of Lady Masumah salamullah alayha. That is very, very dear and very, very special. I didn't know myself for several years after being in Qom how significant is Lady Masumah. And then alhamdulillah, I found a book was written about Lady Masumah and that was called Karimiyya Ahl Bayt. And that book was very useful and opened my eyes. And then I kept thinking and reflecting, and alhamdulillah, I had opportunities to talk about Lady Masumah for our students in Jamatul Zahra, visitors. Till a few years ago, when we had sessions, we started, alhamdulillah, English lectures in the Shrine of Lady Masumah. And then at one point, we had tawfiq to have 4 sessions on Lady Masumah. 2 sessions on her ziyarah, 1 session on historical role of the lady, and 1 on a spiritual position of the lady. And they are alhamdulillah available online, and a book is also published, but it's out of print. Otherwise, I would have brought for you. We have only a few copies left, but inshallah we reprint. I can tell you that this lady is very special. Very, very special. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given her a great role for helping seekers of knowledge and seekers of purity. I just mentioned one hadith, and inshallah you can follow these in those lectures. There is a hadith from Imam Raza alayhi salam, in which he said, "Man zaraha kaman zara." Whoever visits her has visited me. You know, Lady Masumah is one of the people for whom we have received ziyarah from Ma'sum. So we have ziyarat ma'thur. Ziyarah is received. So Imams have recommended her ziyarah and have also taught us how to do ziyarah of the lady. And Imam Raza in this hadith says, whoever visits her has visited me. I knew this hadith, but I had not really understood it till when I was giving lecture in the Shrine on Lady. And then I realized that there is a depth of meaning here which I had neglected. When did Imam Raza say this? When Lady Masumah had already passed away. Because you know, Lady Masumah on her way to visit Imam Raza was attacked in Sawe, and some of the brothers and other members of the group were killed, and Lady asked to take her to Qom, because Qom from the beginning was a place that lovers of Ahlul Bayt were there. And then she was there for a short period of time in a place that is called Baytul Nur, and then she passed away without being able to see Imam Raza alayhi salam. So, she has passed away. Imam is alive. So, visiting Lady Masumah after departure, means visiting her shrine, is considered as equal to visiting living Imam. I don't know if you get two sides. We may even have hard time to believe when lady is alive, visiting her is equal to Imam when he's alive. But Imam Raza is saying something more. Said she doesn't need to be physically alive. Even now, if you go and visit her, it's like visiting me. And Imam doesn't exaggerate. So it means that whatever you want to gain from my visit, you can gain from her visit. You want light, you want solution for your problems, you want shafa'ah. What do you want from visiting Imam? You can get it when you visit the Shrine of Lady Masumah. And then I thought, if Imam Raza alayhi salam said this, wouldn't Imam Jawad also say the same thing? I don't think you can say, no, it's only for Imam Raza. Imam Jawad would not say this. So wouldn't Imam Hadi also say this when he was alive? Wouldn't Imam Askari also say when he was alive? Now you imagine what Imam Mahdi would say. So if you want to visit Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, now you know where to go. Visiting Lady Masumah gives you all the spiritual benefits that you want to get from ziyarah of Imam. And she is the one who has been granted the right of permission, that's a right of intercession, shafa'. Ya Fatima tushfa'i li fil jannah fa inna laki inda Allah sha'nan min ash-sha'. No one can do shafa'ah without Allah accepting that. And you know, shafa'ah in the Quranic sense is special. If you remember my lecture in Milad, it helps. Shafa'ah in worldly sense is someone on your behalf goes and talk to someone that has power, has means to help you. For example, you want to get your hajjah, your work, for example, done from the king. You ask someone to go to the king. Okay? You cannot ask everyone because everyone has no access to the king. And you cannot ask anyone who has access. That person must have also a position, respect. For example, the cleaner also goes to the king, but you don't ask cleaner to do shafa'ah for you. Because king can easily say to cleaner, no, you don't know. So if a criminal asks the cleaner to do shafa'ah for me, the king says, no. He has committed some sins and I don't want to forgive him. So you have to find someone who has access and hearing of the king. King listens to him. Yeah? But still, king may accept and may not accept. But in the case of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has introduced to us the people that He has given them right of shafa'ah. So, if they do shafa'ah, their shafa'ah is not going to be rejected. For example, Quran. Rasulullah said, فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْقُرْآنِ إِذَا الْتَبَسَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْفِتَنِ كَقِطَعِ اللَّيْلِ الْمُظْلِمِ فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْقُرْآنِ فَإِنَّهُ شَافِعٌ مُشَفَّعٌ. What does it mean, شَافِعٌ مُشَفَّعٌ? It means something that intercedes and its intercession is accepted. Allah is never rejecting the Quran if Quran does shafa'ah for you. Allah is not going to reject shafa'ah of the Prophet if Prophet does shafa'ah for you. So you have to make sure that you get the shafa'ah of the Prophet. That's the main thing. Otherwise, if he does shafa'ah, Allah is not going to reject. But there are conditions for getting their shafa'ah. For example, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, لَن تَنَالَ شَفَاعَتُنَا مُسْتَخِفًا بِصَلَاتِهِ. If you underestimate your salat, you cannot get our shafa'ah. It's not that we do shafa'ah and shafa'ah will be rejected. They will not do shafa'ah. Yeah, they have some standards. But if you manage to get their shafa'ah, then inshallah after that there is no word. And Lady Masumah is the one that has the right for shafa'ah. Not only in the ziyarah, we have also that famous hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, which says, with her shafa'ah, our Shia will go into heaven. So, inshallah, we hope that we can better appreciate this great gift that Allah has given us in Lady Masumah, this second Fatima, and benefit inshallah from her motherly love, her motherly care, and inshallah Allah gives us opportunity to inshallah go together inshallah to her ziyarah, but even from here we can connect to the lady. And to also continue our discussion, if you don't mind, just we read one page of the book also. We reached page 186 of volume 7 of Al-Mahjjah al-Baydaa, Kitab al-Sabr wa Shukr. We were talking about some blessings which are instruments. They can help us. We said real blessing and real pleasure is in Akhirah. That's the qaya, that's the end. But something in dunya can help, like money, like position, like family. They can help. Now, there is a question, maybe imaginary question, maybe something that can come to your mind. So he tries to anticipate this question and then answers. You know, in books we have en qulta, qultu, means if you ask this question, if you make this objection, this is the answer. It is very good that whenever you are preparing yourself for teaching or lecturing, you should anticipate questions. A well-learned and experienced speaker never gets a question that he didn't anticipate. It's very hard for an experienced and learned person to get questions which is not anticipated. But people who are not experienced, they get lots of questions, they are not anticipating, therefore they are not prepared. So you have to yourself, waterproof your discussion. No hole should be in your discussion. You have to anticipate any attack, any criticism, any problem. So he says, if you say that mal, position, relation of blood are all blessings, what do you do then with the verses of the Quran and hadith that blame money or dunya or position? How can you consider them as ni'mah and they are introduced in a negative way, like fitna? This is the question. Let us see the question and then the answer. فَإِنْ قُلْتَ فَقَدْ أَدْخَلْتَ الْمَالَ وَالْجَاهَ وَالنَّسَبَ وَالْأَهْلَ وَالْوَلَدَ فِي حَيِّزِ النَّعَمِ. If you say that you have included money, position, nasab relation means family relation, Ahl, family, walad, children or world, your children, you have included them among blessings. وَقَدْ ذَمَّ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى الْمَالَ وَالْجَاهَ. Allah has blamed money and position. وَكَذَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. Prophet also has blamed mal and jah. وَكَذَا الْعُلَمَاء. Ulama have also blamed. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ وَأَوْلَادِكُمْ عَدُوًّا لَكُمْ. Truly, from your spouses and children, there are those who are your enemies. If we take these men for tab'iz, means some of your spouse and children are your enemies. If we take these men for tabyin, it means this is their nature. Or for example, Quran says, إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. When it comes to enemy, being enemy doesn't say all of them. It says some of them, because it seems to be more matter of tab'iz, means some of them. But all of them are fitna. إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُم. Because jam'a muzaf, it's zahirun fil umum, unless there is evidence to exclude. إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ fitna. But of course, fitna doesn't mean necessarily bad. It means you are tested. It means tuftanuna bihi. You are tested with them. Or Imam Ali alayhi salam is quoted as saying, "An-nasu abna'u ma yuhsinun." People are children of what they know well, or what they appreciate. In the sense that you are lower than what is valuable for you. And more famous than this is the second one, which is very famous. قِيمَةُ كُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا يُحْسِنُ. The value of every person is, there are two interpretations. One is that the value of every person is what he masters, what he can do properly, or what here is meant is the value of every person is what he values. What do you find to be valuable? That defines your value. For example, if my value, if you want to understand what is my value, see what can make me give in. For example, if I am holding a position and someone wants to bribe me, if they give me £100, I may not accept. So this means that my value is more than £100. If they give me £1,000 and I don't accept, means my value is more than £1,000. But if they give me £1 million and I accept the bribery, so it means that my value is less than 1 million. If my value was much more than 1 million, so you lost, because even with less than that you could buy me. But definitely my value is less than 1 million pounds. Means the amount of respect that I have for myself was less than this. Otherwise I would not have sold myself to you. Value of Imam Ali alayhi salam is how much? He says, لو أعطيت الأقاليم السبع وما تحت أفلاك. If I am given 7 continents and whatever is under their skies, means from ground up to heaven, for those 7 continents. If you give me all of this, is he going to, for example, say, if you give all this, I am not going, for example, to be your servant. I'm not, for example, going to do mischief. No. He says, if you give me all this and I just take the peel of a barley, not to do zulm, not to kill people, not to do fasad, just you ask me, can you take this barley peel from the ant mouse? ألا أن أعصي الله في نملة أسلبها جلب شعيرة ما فعلت. So this shows that the whole dunya does not worth even one action of Ali. This is why ضربة علي أفضل من عبادة الثقلين, not ضربة علي أفضل من الدنيا. Dunya has no value. If you say ضربة علي أفضل من الدنيا, you have underestimated. So, قيمة كل ما يحسن. The value of every person is what they value, what they find to be good. This is one interpretation. وقيل المرء بنفسه لا بأبيه. This is saying of ulama. Why saying, people say that your value is decided by yourself, not by your father. You cannot say, my father is so and so, my father is prophet, my father is imam, my father is marja, my father is a very good person, very good woman, very good man. It's an honor, but it doesn't give you value just because of blood relation. المرء بنفسه لا بأبيه. فما معنى كونها نعمة مع كونها مذمومة شرعاً? What does it mean that you consider these as blessings while they are in religion considered as blameworthy? Then he gives very good answer and also a very good methodological point. Of course, the point he makes is a warning. It doesn't clarify what should be the policy or procedure or what are the guidelines, but he makes a very important methodological warning. And he says, if someone doesn't have deep understanding and just tries to understand Islam by bringing some verses and hadiths together, there is a great chance of confusion. Because our sources, Quranic and hadith, are mashallah very, very wide and vast and diverse. Even the hadiths which are authentic, because there are hadiths which are not authentic, but even those which are authentic are said in different times, on different occasions, for different reasons, to different people, and then we don't know how accurately they are explained to us. Sometimes the hadiths are cut. Sometimes we don't know the question. It's very difficult to be able to have a proper understanding of Islam just by bringing some verses and some hadiths together. Maybe you can please yourself. Maybe you can please some readers, but scholars would never be pleased by just quotations. You should show that you have deep understanding of the whole Islam. And then what you present here is compatible with Islamic worldview as a whole and with that particular field. Have you considered all the relevant references? And have you considered what this opinion here can have impact on other issues? Sometimes, for example, there is a hadith that if I tell you, it can be proving my point for this discussion, but it can create lots of confusion for another discussion. You have to take all these in mind. Like Quran, even the Quran, which is all authentic, but you cannot just take some verses of the Quran. Al-Qur'anu yufassiru ba'duhu ba'da wa yashhadu ba'duhu ala ba'd. If someone wants to understand Quranic position, must be familiar with the entire Quran, but not just a memorizer of the Quran. You have to also know different disciplines that help you to understand the Quran. You should know tafsir, you should know literature, you should know theology, you should know philosophy, you should know akhlaq, at least these. But if it comes about Quranic, for example, the idea about economics, you should also know economics. If you want to talk about Quranic idea of psychology, you should know also psychology, aligned with all things. So it's not easy. So Ghazali and Mullah Muhsin Faiz tell us, don't just be satisfied with mentioning some verses and hadith and say, oh, why you say money is a blessing? Money is not blessing. Say, yes, money is a blessing, but you have to understand properly. And then he gives few examples. He says, sometimes they take from poison of snakes, they take anti-poison. What do you call? Antidote. So, someone who is experienced, in Arabic, they call it mu'azzam. Mu'azzam with za. Someone who is experienced can deal with snakes without being harmed by their poison. Indeed, takes the poison from a snake and makes it into medicine. But someone who is not experienced, as soon as it goes near the snake, a snake can bite and can kill him. Dunya is like this. Dunya, you cannot say is always bad or always good. Dunya can be a blessing and dunya can be a trouble, a tragedy. Or for example, we live next to sea. For someone who is able to swim and dive, then this is a blessing because he can go and find pearls and jewelries. But someone who is not able to swim and says, I want to go to the sea and get the pearls, then he can drown and die. So, you cannot take verses and hadith against money or position or family as a kind of inclusive rejection of these things. This is warning. You have to be careful. So you cannot say money is not good, children are not good, family is not good. No, they are very good, but you are tested. You have to be careful because the same good things for some people can be bad depending on their approach and their ability to handle these issues properly. So he says, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَأْخُذُ الْعُلُومِ, the one who takes sciences من الألفاظ المنقولة, from the terms and texts which are transmitted. Those who read and teach themselves. You know, we have to be reading a lot, but reading never replaces taking lesson from teacher. Yeah? فَاقْتَبِسُوا الْعِلْمَ or خُذُوا الْعِلْمَ مِنْ أَحْلِهِ فَاقْتَبِسُوهُ مِنْ مَظَانِّهِ. If you just take books of hadith and Quran, even if you have studied, for example, suppose you have studied several years in the Hawzah, but now you want to start tafsir. Have you had good teacher of tafsir? Or you want to study Akhlaq? Have you had good teacher of Akhlaq that for some years has trained you, has built your mind in the way that you can understand all the subtle points about Akhlaq? Or you just want to rush to the text? Sometimes I say to people that, you know, there are people who read and give lectures, and 90% or even maybe 95% of the time you may not sense any problem. Because, for example, a great person, for example, has given a lecture, they memorize it and say it. But as soon as this person tries to be a little bit creative, then problems can happen. He wants to add something, then you see mistake and confusion happens. So maybe 90% is okay, but 10%. Ayatollah Mutahari has a very good example in the book on Islamic education. Actually, there's a series of lectures. Very good book. He says there was a person who used to work for the king, and he was informing the king about hidden things, you know, ghaibi, umur ghaibi. So if, for example, the king loses something and he doesn't know where he has put it, he knew how to find it. So after he died, his son took over. But he was not like his father, experienced and really mastered the subject. He had learned something from his father, but then he had to make the conclusion, and that's the problem. When people can make the conclusion, then they can make mistakes. So the king wanted to test him, so took something in his hand without showing him and said, "Tell me what is in my hand." Your father was able to tell me. If he was here, he could tell me what is in my hand. So he, based on something that has learned from his father, said, "Is it something circular?" He said, "Yes." "Is there a hole inside it?" He said, "Yes." Now it's the time for making conclusion. He said, "Is this the millstone?" Because millstone is also circular and has a hole. And you know, he never thought that millstone cannot be in the hand of the king. Yes, it is circular and it has, but it's not that everything which has a hole and is circular is millstone. It was a ring. this example shows how we can make mistakes when we collect some evidence, but because we don't have expertise and experience, based on those limited, information and experience that we have, we make false conclusions. And especially this happens in socio-political issues. Because in socio-political issues, you need lots of evidence to understand what to do, and more evidence to understand what not to do, to understand actually what is the case. It's very difficult. So, he says, the one who takes his knowledge from ألفاظ المنقولة المؤولة, the terms, the things which are said and are interpreted in different ways, والعمومات المخصصة, and there are umumat, but these umumat have takhsis. Many, in usul, you remember we said ما من عام إلا وقد خص. There is nothing general unless it is modified, it's limited. You take a text, it has tafsir, you don't pay attention to tafsir. You take umum, but it has takhsis. كان الضلال عليه أغلب. Such person, misguidance is more likely to happen to him. ما لم يهتد بنور الله إلى إدراك الأمور على ما هي عليه. As long as light from Allah has not guided him to see things as they are. I don't know, I'm sure you have thought about this issue. We have this concept of common sense. Yeah? Common sense is very important. There are things that as soon as you hear, you say it doesn't make sense. You don't need to investigate more, Someone tells you something, someone says, have you heard this? You say, with my common sense, this doesn't make sense. Yeah? We all have common sense. Religious, non-religious people, we have common sense. But scholars of religion should have another common sense as well. When you are a Muslim scholar, you should have a second common sense. Some interpretations, some presentations of the Quran and Hadith doesn't match to that second common sense. But unfortunately, some people just take things literally and they don't have that vision. So he says, كان الضلال عليه أغلب ما لم يهتد بنور الله إلى إدراك الأمور على ما هي عليه. If he has not been guided with the light of Allah to see things as they are, the chance of being misguided is more. He has to have that light to see things as they are, and then put the text in its right context with proper interpretation and make those umumat mukhassas, know how to modify them. Then after this point he says, فَهَذِهِ نَعَمٌ مُعِينَةٌ عَلَىٰ أَمْرِ الْآخِرَةِ. If you have that kind of common sense in religious scholarship, you realize that money, position are ni'mah. And they help for akhirah. No one can deny it. لا سبيل إلى جحدها إلا أن فيها فتنا ومخاوف. Yes, but there are tests and fears. For example, is driving good or bad? I can tell you a statistics, how many people have accident, how many people are killed. But this doesn't mean that driving is bad, full stop. There are worries, there are dangers, but still we have to drive. Yes, without training and having license, you shouldn't drive. فَمَثَلُ الْمَالِ مِثَالُ الْحَيَّةِ التي فيها ترياغ نافع وسم ناقع. It's like a snake from which you can get either poison which destroys and kills, or get an antidote. What he says. فَإِنْ أَصَابَهَا الْمُعَزِّمُ, the one who is expert extracting poison, الذي يعرف وجه الاحتراس, then it is ni'mah for him. Actually, from this he can save life of people, he can make even earning. Yeah, his job is this. It's very good for him. He's very happy that today I found some snake to take the poison, extract the poison. But in أَصَابَهَا السَّوَادِ, if someone who is from town, and normally people who live in town, they don't know these things. Yeah, people who are in villages, they know. So if someone is from town and doesn't know how to deal with this, فَهِيَ عَلَيْهِ بَلَاءٌ وَحَلَاقٌ, it's a calamity and destroy. Or like sea, there are pearls, there are jewelries. If you know how to dive and get them and bring them out, then it's great ni'mah for you. Otherwise, is not. So, I think I made the general point, but I am very conscious of your time. So, I think we stop here. And inshallah, we resume if we have tawfiq next semester, inshallah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His blessings to all ulama who have worked hard so that we can have access and also proper understanding of the teachings of Quran and Ahlul Bayt when they had no facilities, when they had no computer, even sometimes they didn't have books, they didn't have light, they didn't have money, sometimes they didn't have security. They managed to do great job. Now that alhamdulillah we have facilities, we have everything, light is not considered as a ni'mah today because we unfortunately take it for granted. We take things for granted. We have so many facilities and still we are not working like them. We ask Allah to send His rahmah and maghfirah to them, elevate their status, and to help us also to follow their footsteps. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to collect us and them in the circle of students of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahlul Bayt. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our knowledge beneficial knowledge, and knowledge that improves our condition and improves people's condition. Because if knowledge is not beneficial, it is just a burden. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep our maraj, our hawzahs, our schools, our circles of learning, our publishing houses, our libraries, whatever we have for spreading knowledge, we ask Allah to protect, to bless, and to improve, inshallah. Future is a matter of understanding, a matter of proper orientation, a matter of determination, a matter of focus. If you want future, knowledge, orientation, focus, determination. These are 4 things that we need. You cannot buy them in black market. It comes from pure places of knowledge that inshallah, hopefully, we can get connected to these pure circles of knowledge if we are under the guidance of our marajah and scholars, which are godly scholars. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.